2017. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone. We'll start off with public comment. Do we have any public comment? Okay. No public comment. Any updates?
I attended the Elkhorn Restoration Group tour of the Elkhorns and Johnny Crow this past week. They would like the commission, and that will be coming to us, to join on to a Friends of the Court amicus brief supporting the logging plan that was put together. So I'll be bringing that to you guys. We also looked at a bunch of the different things that have been targeted up there and some of the befores and afters of healthy and responsible forest management. The differences are striking. It's an excellent tour. We had Fish, Wildlife and Parks, Forest Service, both the Elkhorn Working Group and the Restoration Committee. We had a rack there. And then we had members of the public and some of the ranchers that have grazing rights on those properties as well. So excellent. We also had a meeting with the transition team for the Board of Crime Control, and that is still motoring along. That's all I have that I can remember from last week.
I just visited with the county people about the budget, some road complaints, some weed complaints, some mosquito complaints, and talked to the hospital a little bit about their own situation.
About the same as me, meeting complaints, hearing them, and otherwise business as usual. I didn't know if you had a public comment. We just went through public comment, Brandon, there?
Nope.
Okay. Just waving.
The sheriff is up in Missoula, so
Yeah,
he won't be able to be here today, so.
right. At this point, doesn't look like we have any COS. We'll go through some mail here. Oh, this is DEQ, and it's for some landfill operations. It's going to take a meeting in September in Missoula. Pass that one along.
This is a conference for managing landfills. We don't have one, of course, and that's one of the reasons that we do have recycling, is to keep that, because I think it would really be a hot issue with our citizens.
Here's some accounting on the telephone monthly maintenance. Commissioner there is highlighted. Approved claims here in the amount of $82,723.26.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims as quoted.
Second.
You moved to second, pay claims amount $82,723.26. Any more discussion? No more discussion, we'll vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Peck and Associates, they moved to, August 20, next week, they'll be moving to a new building on Silo Drive, there's a card.
We had Robert Petch actually attend the Silos public meeting personally, which was quite a good show of support for this.
Right here, Montana Agricultural Business Association, about biotechnology education. It's Montana Agricultural Business Association, passionate about educating our Montana citizens about biotechnology and the value it provides for all Montanans. We worked with the Montana Farm Bureau Federation and Montana Grain Growers Association and created the enclosed postcards in an effort to spread the word about biotechnology and the great opportunity it provides. We hope you'll find the information on the postcard informative that you share it through the office as you deem appropriate. We appreciate all the hard work they do for Montana agriculture. Please don't hesitate to let us know if there's anything that we or one of our business members can provide. Christy Lee Evans, Executive Director. Here's the card you sent. I'll leave one up here in case you're interested in looking at that. This is MBAC's payment for the turning lane.
That's not MBAC's payment, that is Shob, Scolia LLC,
Yeah,
pays that, and it's a pass-through to MBAC, to us, but they don't pay it, it's just a pass-through. But the county actually will earn about $27,000 in interest from that. That's important to also be aware of.
total balance due at $99,000. If you don't already have, this is a health board meeting Wednesday at 1 o'clock in this room. You should look at it at 1 o'clock. This looks like we're pretty good. That's all the mail item, the claims that I have here. So any comments or anything, or we got about another 5 minutes before we open the ambulance bids. Okay, we're just a few seconds off of opening the bids for the ambulance. Take me that long to get this open.
We showered.
What's that?
I showered. It's done well.
High profile government bid or something. Okay, this is from Sawtooth Emerging Vehicle. Offered bid to Belleville County, August 14, 2017, 2018 Ford Type 1 Osage Warrior. Pictures. Bid bond. Let's see what comes in. Let's see. This is. Here we go with this.
Chairman, how many bids did we get that came in on the ambulance?
2.
Okay. Chain of command.
You see it, everyone's doing place?
Should be in the front, I would imagine.
Oh, but they do. That's just the vehicle. Cover letter, let's see.
There's bid bond and pricing right
Oh, okay. Here, right here. Okay, finally got to it here. This one is $24,784,
there.
or
$247.
$247,846.
Which company is that?
That's a 2018 Ford 450, 4x4.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Might have to wait another 10 years for it.
Well, we can probably cut some stuff out.
We have a lot of stuff to go through to check everything out. Check this back. It says bid. Price there. Take you watch more of this with in case I miss something.
You've turned 2 pages there, Franklin.
Maybe that's where it's been all the time. Price on that. Mark pays on the price, seal the bid.
This is the respect we need. It's not in the very first pages. That's just all specifications.
Bid, starts on that letter, let's see. Can we go back a ways and see what it says? Oh, that's just drawings. Proposal, sure it would be, let's see this here. That's the bid bond there. That's something I didn't go through.
This is the
Looks like it should be on this side right here.
that's the invitation. That's just all the specs. It's gotta be in that first package where it says bid back behind that.
Okay, try it again.
Yesterday, good enough out there at their house.
Nothing there.
Or something.
That's back to all the,
This is the, it's gotta be out in that front section somewhere. Should be in this one.
that was just a drawing, but we can go through it again. And all the, what's.
Are both notebooks the same, Franklin?
I don't know. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, we'll see. Here, you wanna look this one, I'll go through this other one here again. Looks like it's the same thing, though.
Might check the tabs to be sure.
Right here.
Okay, we do have, this is from Braun Northwest, North Star Emergency Vehicles, and it's $207,168. What was that first one, Mike?
247,000.
247, okay. And this is 207. Okay, whoever charge all that, you'll have, like I say, plenty of things to go through. You heard the last price, 207,000.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I need to know so I can get the information.
Difference there. Depends, I guess, what those specs all say and everything too. It'll take quite a bit to make up that 40,000 one.
Yeah.
What, Ray?
Okay, any more comments on the ambulance bids?
Any, how much money have they got for the ambulance?
I believe it's around 100,000 set aside.
$162,000.
Oh, 162,000.
What is happening with all this ambulance money?
What's that now?
The ambulance trips that they make, what's going, where's all that money going?
I can explain that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
The Broadwater County government buys ambulance every 10 years, and they lease the ambulance service to Broadwater Health Center. Broadwater Health Center operates and maintains the vehicles, provides the staff, medical malpractice insurance and everything. So when they collect for a run for Medicare, or Medicaid, or insurance county, they keep that revenue for operating purposes.
All of them?
Yes, sir.
How much does it cost to run from here to Helena or from here to Bozeman?
I couldn't answer that. You mean for an ambulance emergency run?
Yeah.
I don't know. Mary might have an idea. I have no idea.
I'm not sure, I'm not gonna quote a price, I'm not quite exactly. One thing you should know, that not every ambulance run is reimbursed. There are people who don't have insurance and don't have a way to pay. So we're not reimbursed from every call, or every call,
And it's never reimbursed at the full price either.
correct?
If we charge $1,000, we might get $200 out of it.
And
How did the county accrue the $162,000 in the ambulance fund?
Mill levy,
Over what period of time?
2/3 of a mill levy per year on your property taxes.
Over the past how many years?
Uh,
How many years did it
About
take?
about last 10 years. We try to buy an ambulance every 10 years.
Okay.
So we're retired owners, 20 years old. And one of the ambulances is usually a four-wheel drive, the other's a two-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive is much more expensive. That's how we accrue the money for a little bit short or something. Sometimes the commissioners will throw some PILT money in and the CIP. Is that correct?
Yes, we do 10,000 a year from PILT into the ambulance savings account. Essentially, they're on a 10-year cycle for replacing the ambulances themselves, and anything not spent during the year goes into their CIP.
So that 162 is the CIP amount, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
If we order an ambulance, it takes about 9 to 10 months to have it delivered. So we have another cycle, property tax cycle to come through, another PILT cycle to come through, to put some more money in there before we have to pay the bill. We're just getting this started ahead of time because it takes so long for them to build an ambulance and deliver it to us.
And what were the two bids?
248,000 and 207,000.
Can we see some paperwork on what the ambulance runs, the money, that goes to the hospital? All of that stuff? Do we have any paperwork on that?
I don't know, unless the ambulance crew does, but I imagine it just the hospital has that, is that correct?
You can check with Jenny Klaus on that, she's got all the financial records.
Okay.
And she made those all available to anyone who would like to come and talk to her, so most certainly please
I
give
won't
her a call.
darken the door of that hospital, sorry about that.
Any more comments or questions on the ambulance bid? Like I said, it'll take you a while to go through all that, but there's 40,000 land there, so it'd have to be some pretty great changes, I think, to beat the lowest bid there. Okay, we're just a few minutes past now for department heads, fiscal year 17-18 budget negotiations. Who wants to start off with that?
Franklin, I would suggest that we update our folks first, so that they kind of know what the new plan is moving ahead. That way everybody's on the same page of understanding and knowledge.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump in so that you guys are all fully informed. What we have are two things that have hit us all in the same budget year. One is our valuations went up this year by 9%. They went from 14.8 to 15.9, rounding numbers, for a mill. So 14.8 thousand to 15.9 thousand. However, there was a new worksheet developed by Department of Administration and Department of Revenue that changed how we calculate that increase. And what that did is it resulted in a loss of 5 and some mills total. All of you guys, or most of you guys, operate on what's called floating mills. There was 111 point something last year, it's 106 this year. What we do is we spread those out between all departments. Last year there was an increase of 2 something, and that increase was spread out. This year the decrease is going to be spread out with everybody. We're still 3.9% to the good, to the positive, so there is still an increase. The other thing that hit us is the upcoming trial, the Barris trial. We don't have a price estimation at this time. We have looked at some information from the Attorney General's office, and a homicide trial is expected to cost us about $100,000. In order to assist Corey in prosecuting that trial, we negotiated with him and came up with the money to go ahead and give him an additional deputy county attorney and secretary. So what we had done at the beginning of the year is we had a CD that had matured, and we went ahead and we decided, we worked with Doug, and we had decided to go ahead and put that CD to Public Safety and General Fund as a one-time only infusion to help those two funds realize their cash balance, which should be at 33%. This year with the trial, all of that money instead went to litigation fund, deputy county attorney and secretary for the county attorney for the trial. That left us in a position of, there wasn't enough money to fully fund all those things with the cash balance and get the cash reserves back up. So what we decided last time we met was we were gonna do across the board, 5% cut in operations for every department. Everybody hurts the same, everybody's in the same bucket, if you will. We're all one county, we should work together. So that's what we left Friday with, and you guys all got the email of, okay, this is what's coming. In the past, those of you who have been brilliant in your budgeting and realized more than 33% reserves, that went into a CIP. The other thing we decided to do this year to help district court that's also behind is to take that extra over the 33% and put that into district court. You wouldn't lose any money from your operations beyond that. Everybody budgeted with an estimation of a 3% increase. There was still a 0.9 out there. So Mike and I did some brainstorming this morning, and I think we've come up with a solution, and Mike, jump in if you want, or correct me if I get something wrong. But, so scratch everything that was in those emails last week. Not everything, because there was a lot of facts in there that you guys needed to know. But basically what we're gonna do is no change to your budgets as they stand right now. Okay, so no 5% cuts. They are as they are at this point. What we are going to do is we are going to borrow one CD worth $250,000. That CD is going to help those departments that need a little help with their cash reserves. That would be public safety, district court, general fund, litigation fund, anyone else who needs a little assistance. We are going to pay back that CD in coming years by our increases in valuation. We're the second, sometimes the third fastest growing county in the state. We're also going to use our PILT funds to pay it back. We expect in 3 years' time that $250 will be totally paid back. So the deal that we are going to present to you guys is, this year when we started the budget, we said, okay, no increases. Then we backed off and we said, well, we expect a 3% increase in valuation, so go ahead and increase by 3%. What we're gonna say for next year is we're gonna freeze operational costs for every department across the board. If you want more money, it's gonna be up to you guys to find grants or alternative sources of funding. We know nobody likes grants, or a few people do, but they are a way of increasing your operational funds without burdening the taxpayers. If you can't find that, there are other options. If there's more money needed, certainly you can work with us. And the last part of this is we are going to ask that the Wednesday meeting, since we won't need to meet with you folks since you've already gotten balanced budgets, we are going to ask to meet with all elected officials, mandatory, to try and figure out how to come up with additional money should it be needed for the trial. Mike, did I miss anything?
No, the only thing is we were gonna try to leave COLA and the insurance on the table to see what happens with those rates.
The idea being, we're gonna be asking more of you guys and burdening you with cuts in pay, cuts in benefits, not an option. So we need to make sure that our employees remain competitive. We already know that you're among the least paid for your perspective or your respective positions in the state. So COLA cuts in the future, health insurance cuts in the future are not part of this discussion. We will have to reevaluate each year, but just the 1% last year put you guys further behind. That puts us in a position this year of having to make up the difference. That's not a good way to budget. We should be keeping up with COLA on an annual basis. So that was not part of our discussion today. first of all, does that help? And second of all, are there any questions? Is there anything that's not clear between what we sent you guys home with last week and what we're hopefully reassuring you with this morning?
I have several questions, but I just don't want you guys to end before then, but see if anyone else wants to go first.
If anybody has any concerns that you don't want to voice in a commission meeting with the camera on, in front of all your peers, call any one of us after the meeting, leave an email, text. We are here to answer your questions at any time. So if you have any concerns at all, come and see us, or talk to Debbie too.
I know one way you can probably cut is if you look at anything that's like, you know, it's little stuff, but it all adds up. Whether paper products, you know, we go through tons of paper, people leaving their computers on, for electricity, space heaters, anything like that would help too, because I know we're gonna have electric increases this year. Making it more of a standard temperature rating for the whole building. People who normally come in dresses in the middle of winter, start dressing differently. I mean, just things like that. Maybe we, make it so that, because the front door up here in the front, I know that that's the main entrance, maybe we close it. Have people come in from the back, from the corner. You know, well, everything makes a difference.
It does, it all adds up, doesn't it?
It does. Nickel and dimes add up to hundreds of dollars, thousands.
Absolutely, thank you. And when you think about it, your small department of 1, 2, 3, 5, 23, it adds up when you look at 12 different departments being in the general fund, each made up of 5 people, or 2 people. So, yeah, I think Mike's ideas hold some merit. So, wherever we can cut, we can save ourselves money for other things. Any other thoughts, questions? Arguments? You guys desperately want to cut 5% and gosh darn it, you don't like this new plan? We're totally open. All right, thanks.
I have a question. So you mentioned there was a CD that was cashed in for public safety. When was that? And
It
how much
wasn't
was
for just public safety, it was for raising cash reserves. That was for district court, general fund, and public safety.
And when was that?
Just recently, it matured, and what we did is we put it into a second fund rather than rolling it into another CD.
How much was it?
$250,000.
No, I guess what I'm asking is, you referred to another CD prior to that,
That's the first one.
okay?
Then what we are going to do is borrow a second one. Our CDs are all our investments for the whole county. They're all in our cash report. So if anybody wants a copy of that, you're more than welcome to it. But our cash reserves, our CDs match our cash report. So that isn't free money. We can't just go ahead and start using it. One is, it will deplete it. But 2 is, it is dedicated to something. We can borrow on those CDs, and many of those CDs are in 7 to 10 year maturity accounts with a set interest rate. So like the hospital, we've cut that in half to a 5-year maturity, and we've taken a 1.6 interest rate and actually will be benefiting by 3%. We can do things like that with those CDs, but we can't just cash them out and start using them because we have something that's come up. So the second CD, we are going to borrow. We are going to borrow that and we're going to put it to public safety to help them, district court, public, general fund, which includes you because you're in the general fund, and we're going to use that to increase those cash reserves so that we do not have to do cuts across the board. We are going to then, in the next 3 years, use a combination of our increased valuations and PILT to pay that back.
So what's our total holdings in CDs and investments right now?
$11 million as of June 30, 2017.
And they're all in CDs, or what kinds of things are they being held in?
I'm gonna give that one to you, Doug, I'm
It's-
not an
it's-
expert.
There's, right now, we have about $1,500,000 in bill. We have, I'm not sure of the amounts in CDs, but we have, through DA Davidson, we have bonds that were purchased. Most of the, I think we have about 4 million through DA Davidson, and the rest is in CDs through Buchanan.
So you think about, did you say 3 or 4 in bonds?
I think we have 4 in bonds.
So about 5.5 in CDs, or, yeah, 5.5 in CDs.
Yeah.
Does that 11 million, does that include the Canyon, that does not include the Canyon Ferry Trust, right?
Right.
Actually, doesn't it?
No, because I think it's like 14 with the Canyon Ferry Trust.
Yeah, we didn't, that Canyon Ferry Trust, I'm not sure.
I think it does,
That might
actually,
be
I can
on the
go get
total
it.
on your report. That should, that should go into, that should go into the total on the treasurer's report I give you each month.
Isn't there some for the schools there too?
The school has I think it's a $1 million bond, or I can't, I deal with it once a year and I don't commit to amount to memory, but they have one bond in there for the high school.
I don't seem to have it with me, but I do have the cash report, and the cash report has to equal, this is what you balance every month, the CD investments. So the cash report includes the schools, includes the retirements for the schools, all that good stuff, and it includes the trust board. So one cannot be out of balance with the other, and that's one of the things that Harold's gonna be here on Wednesday to help us all understand the CD investments and how those are connected. So if anybody's interested, both Eric Bryson and Harold Blatty will be here to talk with us Wednesday morning at 9, and that'll be a good place to get some of your questions answered, Corey.
Okay, so when you say we're gonna borrow, we're not really borrowing, we're borrowing from ourselves.
Correct,
Or
but we're
you-
paying back
No, I
ourselves.
understand, but we're not, just so everyone's clear, you're not going out and getting a loan from somebody
No.
for $250,000. You're using a CD and then you're paying it back, or we collectively are paying it back over, that's your intention, is that correct?
Correct. And that should include some interest too, since we'll be losing some.
And then, I guess I would just offer to the group that, so what the commission approved, they had already approved a part-time contract deputy county attorney that was gonna do civil. So what they.
We had not. We had not. You had requested that. We published the preliminary budget with that in it. But as you know from our training with Harold Blatty last year, the preliminary budget is a wish list. Now, we worked with a lot of you before the preliminary budget, but the preliminary budget is not the final budget, it's a wish list. So when you say, I want an extra $25,000 for an attorney, we put that into the preliminary budget. That does not mean we approved it, it just means it was published as your request for that additional money. We have not approved that in the budget.
We verbally approved Corey's.
We did not, we did not, and you'll need to go back through the minutes, because we absolutely did not. We approved just last meeting a deputy county attorney for the duration of the Barris trial,
That was the
period,
request.
period. So I just wanna make sure everybody's on the same page with the budget.
I thought you had already done a budget resolution approving the final budget.
No,
You've
no,
not done that?
No.
No.
When do you plan to do that?
we have to do it by the end of the month. The resolution's going to be published this Monday for the 30th, which is Wednesday, correct, Debbie?
Yes.
Okay.
And that'll give us one extra day if we need to continue that hearing.
Okay, well, the commission had whatever verbiage you wanna use, had in my preliminary budget request, and I was under the impression from a couple meetings with them that they were approving a part-time deputy county attorney per civil work. In the course of all this, in analyzing both the cost of what those part-time, those contract lawyers from outside would cost, as well as the workload that comes with the Barris case, that I have requested that we increase that from a part-time to a full-time deputy county attorney. Then that person will do civil work and misdemeanor prosecution, and then some limited amount in district court. And then as far as the secretary goes, Brooke Dolan received a grant that is now paying for all of her victim advocate salary costs, everything. And so my office had a 2/5 time, had been paying her 2/5 FTE as a legal secretary. That money, I requested that money be kept within the office for a part-time, additional part-time legal secretary. So just so we're all clear on what I asked for, it was not an addition of a new secretary, it was keeping that money in the office for a legal secretary for another person. And I did ask for the deputy. I don't think there's any way to do this job, and particularly the death penalty case over the next 2 years, without some significant manpower increases. So, I mean, I just want you to know, I'm not going out trying to find and invent ways to go after everybody else's budget. And if anyone feels that way, I'd be happy to visit with you, but that's certainly not been my intention.
Any more questions? Kirk, just
I'm
to
sorry,
catch you
I
up?
was late, I had so many.
That's all right.
So,
Doesn't hurt for us to repeat at all,
right.
seriously. Couple of things for you. We're gonna ask all elected officials to meet with us Wednesday morning
Okay.
at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock if you're able. Harold Blatty and Eric Bryson from MACO will be here to talk about our, basically our budget, our CD investments, and some of those related issues.
Okay.
We are not going to ask everyone to cut the 5% from their operations. What we are going to do is we are going to borrow from ourselves a $250,000 CD. We are going to pay that back over the next 3 years with PILT and our valuations. And we are going to require no further cuts for the next 3 years in operations. So,
9 o'clock Wednesday, though?
yeah, yeah. And Harold and Eric need to leave by 10:30, so after that, we can just talk amongst ourselves.
Okay.
But they'll certainly be here to give an education, which we could all use. So, no cuts, we're kind of going back to Plan A, and I think that's it, very shorthand for you.
Okay, well, I apologize, I didn't repeat that much of it, so.
It was 2 sentences, it really did not take any time off my life. And what we did say, Kirk, is if you have any questions at all, and you know, it kind of hits you with a very shorthand, come see us, call us, we'd be more than happy to talk with anybody at any time.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks. Well, Mike, did I cover everything? Did you think of anything more?
Just that everybody needs to be real cognizant of what money we're spending for the next 3 years, starting this year. Is that the increase that we gave and not cutting that is probably gonna be, that's our limit. So that's what you're working with for the next 3 years, we hope, if not longer.
One of the things we talked about in our department head meetings, and we should probably get those going again though, but was starting a group to look for grants, to work together as a grant writing committee. We have an employee who is interested in grant writing. These are opportunities for us, so we should maybe get that going. And if anybody else has any ideas, partnering between departments is going to help us save money. A lot of you do that already anyway, but if we can increase that and polish it up, streamline it even more, we'll come out even further to the good. So, anything else? All right, call us if you have any questions. We're here for you at any time.
Yeah, I think most of your department heads, you've done a good job. But I could see this coming. 3 years ago, I saw this coming. And we're at it now. So anyway, I guess we'll get it worked out. Thank you.
I wanna back up. The position we're in with the budget is not because of you guys or anything you have done over the last 3 years. In fact, if anything, I would give you guys kudos for a lot of the work that you do. I see a lot of you at nighttime meetings. I see a lot of you at early morning meetings. You guys are doing a stellar job.
That's what I said.
Nobody
Department
saw
heads are doing a
the
good job.
Barris trial coming, certainly not 3 years ago. That is really what has put us behind. We had a sound budget for this year. What has put us behind, what puts us in stress now for the future is this trial. It is not you guys. So I guess I would say keep up the good work. I'm proud of each and every one of you, and I am honored to get to work with you, all of you.
Are we excused now?
Yes, you are. Do not treat me like a school marm.
You can go to recess now. Well, you can go to recess now.
Okay, thank you.
Spend some money. Who's gonna have to pitch in the rest of this month?
I would just ask commissioners, when you get to claims, I submitted a claim and I sent you another email this morning on it, on the advertisement that I put out that hasn't, I don't know if you voted on it or not, but I have a $99 bill that's past due, I'm accruing late fees on, and I would ask you to please pay that.
I signed it as soon as we authorized your deputy, and I didn't see it in the stack this morning, so I'm guessing, Mike, did you sign that on Friday?
I signed claims Friday.
I bet that's when it was, because I don't see it in the stack now.
Okay, well, I submitted it on May 31st, so I wish that, if there was a problem, I wish that someone had talked to me about it prior to what now, we're 60 days, I don't know, I've lost track of the days, however many days, yeah, 60 days probably. So, we've got to pay a late fee, and then we're about to resubmit for a different ad, and they're probably gonna want payment up front. So. That'd be my request, that we pay that soon, so we can do that.
So this